say this at the beginning of each panel, but wow, what a crowd. Very exciting. I'm Leanne Wood, president of Flying Camel PR, and I'm your host of the KBIS Next Stage. We want to thank our sponsor of this panel, GE Appliances. GE Appliances answer real-life needs, define trends, simplify routines, and upgrade the look and feel of the living space. Through ingenuity and innovation, next-generation features are solving real-life needs. With a forward-thinking tradition that spans over 100 years, today's GE Appliances sync perfectly with the modern lifestyle, and that's why they are trusted in half of the American homes. Thank you to GE. And now I'm going to introduce the panel moderator, Jennifer Bertrand, founder of Jennifer Bertrand Design. She will introduce her panelists. Jennifer Bertrand is a designer best known as the winner of HGTV's Design Star. She's always a star, and currently is the designer on Lifetime Channel's Military Makeover with host Montel Williams, and has appeared in countless media outlets. She has a no-nonsense, accessible approach to making positive and impactful design changes without breaking the bank. We love working with Jennifer, and you probably recognize her as a moderator in the past, because every year I love to have her involved. And she's super fun to follow on Instagram, so everyone make sure you're following all these panelists today. Jennifer, we know you'll bring the humor, fun, and excitement to this panel session today, as always. Welcome to the stage.
Here's the thing. I like a handheld mic and I can't stand still, and I hate boring. You guys took the time to come here, and in case you're like, why does she look like the love child of Paula Deen and Jack Black? You are welcome. That is just so you start to relax. This is a fun panel, but let's introduce our panelists. First, we have Sarah Robertson. She's an amazing designer and principal of Studio Dearborn. She's excited. They don't know what to expect. Then we have Damaris Phillips. She's a chef and a winner of Food Network's Next Design, or Food Star. I obviously didn't memorize this super well. And John McLean, who's principal of his own design studio. Okay, so here's how this works. How many of you have ever heard me talk? Some of you have. You know what you're in for. If you haven't, I'm sorry. I want a reality show, so that's kind of what happens. You have two TV people. We're all working professionals. The whole point of this is so that you leave with actual information that you really use. At the very end, we will have a Q&A. So we want you to ask us real stuff. Like, this is not fake high level. You just kind of go away and you're like, TikTok's great. The goal is that it's real information that you actually use. So I've got a clicker. We have images because we're designers. We like visuals. And we're going to talk about posts that are successful for us and some of the different things that we do. But let's start with you guys telling everyone what social media you like best and why, and keep it real. No pressure, Sarah.
Yeah. So I am really ambivalent at this point between TikTok and Instagram. I have loved Instagram for years since I got on, and I was definitely a late adopter, for sure. But both.
And real quick, sound check. Can everyone hear her okay? Perfect.
Okay,
Sorry
cool.
to interrupt.
But both TikTok and Instagram are really driving traffic to my website right now, and particularly Reels. So let's get real.
We're going to show you guys some of the posts. I'm the hobo of the group. I have the lowest following of all of us. I try. My posts aren't pretty, and you're going to learn from each of us what works. Okay, Damaris, bring it.
Okay, so I use them all. I post the exact same thing across all of the different social channels. So for me, it doesn't matter. It's all of them. I don't love any of them. Probably, I think Instagram's the most intuitive. Facebook is the easiest for posting your websites to, and a quick click to your websites. And TikTok is, I mean, it's probably the future. So you kind of just.
No.
You know what I love
It
is
probably is.
TikTok has all these middle-aged people with like their toe in the water where they're like, I have an account, I won't post anything, but I will watch.
Middle age.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
fetal
What are you
young
talking
people.
Thank you.
Okay, John, what do you like?
Well, I probably won't be getting any muffin baskets from TikTok after this is over because I find it kind of annoying. I don't love it. I'm like, why do every time I open this app, somebody's screaming at me and yelling at me and telling me to do something?
They're telling you you're gorgeous.
They're not. They're telling me all the things that's wrong. No, they're not. But I might be an adapter to it later, and I'll never say never, but at the moment, it's not my favorite thing. Instagram is my favorite. I love Instagram. As a designer, we're very visual. I like to zoom in and move around a photo and see all the details about it, and that's why I like Instagram the most.
And I like that you're being honest, because what do you guys think? Should someone try to do all social media? Should they try to pick one and be great at it? What do you think?
I think you should try to do all social media, but you should follow Damaris's lead here and take the same content and repurpose it across all your channels. And so you should be thinking about your content as being something that's going to work on all of those channels, which means it needs to be evergreen, it needs to be relevant to your brand, all that good stuff.
Tell them what evergreen means. Not everyone may know that term.
So evergreen is something that's going to be useful today, but it'll also be useful to your viewers a year from now, 2 years from now. It has longevity.
But it used to be that they'd say make each channel different, that you had a different vibe. Like on TikTok, I think it's the Wild West, so I'm just like, I do whatever and I try it and have fun. But you guys, do you do the same media on each one?
I do. So now it's, I create it for TikTok and Reels, and I post it pretty much the same day.
Yep.
And then I carry it over to Pinterest. And I let it feed through to Facebook as well. Facebook is not like a high priority for me.
So all three of you do videos, because I've gone through all your social media in a creepy way. So do you have a team of people? Do you tripod it yourself? Are you with a weird selfie stick? How do you do it?
I do it all myself. I do have my son, my older son, occasionally will help me with the camera work, and he will occasionally help me with looking for trends, looking for hashtags. But I'm really, and honestly, my older son is the one who got me on TikTok in the sense that he gave me that initial tutorial and we put together the first few together, which was super fun, by the way. Like if any of you have teenage kids and can bring them in just on your social media, it's really fun to work with them on it.
So you do have a staff.
But he's in college, so he's gone.
Oh.
So it's all up to me now. But yeah, it was a great lead-in. So
It's just so kids can tell you Facebook is for old people. That's what I get told by my 12-year-old. Let's show everyone kind of your social media. Let's talk statistics as well, because I think it's knowing your brand, knowing your audience. I'm going to assume all of you can read. Look at the high points in this. Instagram's still killing it. It's still around being relevant, so finding your vibe. I always think it's visual. You love Instagram. So John, since you hate TikTok in a loving way, what would you say is advice for someone building a brand on Instagram?
Well, I know the word authentic has been overdone and overused, but you really need to just be yourself. When I first started using Instagram and doing it, I felt like I had to keep up with what everyone else was doing, post the same type of photos, do all of that. Once I started kind of pulling back those layers and showing everything, it changed every single thing. And the thing about that is, not only were people attracted to what I was saying, and you kind of get your following, brands are attracted to that too, because brands also want to get into the minds of people who are following us. So
But
honesty.
do you make a post going, I hope GE sees this and wants to collaborate?
No, I don't. I literally post from my heart, and normally I will post as I'm having coffee in the morning, to be honest with you. I post the day of. I don't really plan and pre-plan these things. Because you can post, and sometimes they sound so fake and silly, and it's like, why did you even waste your time? So I really try to find something, some little nugget in there. And when you're posting to Instagram or any social media, I always think you should be thinking about who is listening to that. what you can give them to come from that with, because so many times we're so narcissistic about it and we're just like, oh, let's put a pretty picture up and hope everybody tells me how great it is. But what is the public getting from that? That's what I try to do. My little tip is I always post with my best friend in mind. So I post as if I'm talking to him. So the verbiage that I use is if my best friend from middle school is who I'm speaking to.
And when you guys say, like, if someone's not used to being in front of the camera, like, any tips for practicing, like record it, watch it,
Vodka.
or do you just go cold turkey and just do it? What'd you say?
I said vodka. No, I'm just kidding.
That is the secret to everything. What advice would you have?
I don't think that you have to be in front of the camera. Like if you're not comfortable doing selfies, don't do them. Create a style that works for what you are comfortable with. Because not everybody does want to be in front of it. If you're a designer, it is totally fine to voice over, but to show imagery. There are ways to include your personality, there are ways to include your brand without it having to be your face, if that's not what you like. If you do like it and you don't mind being in front of the camera, you just have to practice. And also you have to not care about looking silly. Because sometimes your eye's gonna be wonky. It's gonna be like this, and you're like, oh no, maybe I should film it again. You shouldn't film it again. You should just put it up there, who cares? Everybody has a wonky eye, everybody's hair, it kills me. It'll always be one hair way out here in the video, and I nailed it. And I'm like, oh, I don't look perfect. It's fine. Just put it up. Nobody is paying it as much attention as I am to myself. It's more important to have a message and let that message come through, and less about, especially, it's hard because we're so visual. It's hard to take the importance away from the look and put it into the content. What is my message? What am I trying to say? Why am I trying to say this? That's what's important. I love it when I look beautiful, but that's not what my brand is about.
Yeah.
That's a perfect.
I want to add to that because I'm not comfortable putting my face really into my videos, and so my videos are really all about like what you said. I'll sometimes do voiceovers, sometimes just do titles. I don't feel like people need to look at this, like I'm middle-aged on a good day. I'm not, Julia Roberts isn't even getting work these days. I don't want to put my face on film. That's just where I am. But I want to be informative.
Yeah.
And so that's all about showing people what is informative in the videos, which is not necessarily me talking into the camera, but it might be a voiceover. And voiceovers are hard enough. So.
And don't you think it's also like sometimes we, as creatives, we all wait for the perfect project to share, but sometimes it's jump in, show the hideous, the cankle of design that you're like, yeah, I don't want to put my name on this. I'm not going to say it on camera, but I'm going to start showing you things because there's never a perfect time to start. Okay, let's talk logistics, and I'm going to put some TikTok stuff up there because I want you all to start. If you haven't done it, the funniest thing was our panel was doing a meeting about this, and I was like, yeah, you guys know the video that says on TikTok that you've been scrolling too long and you've been on TikTok too long, and then it was like crickets. Only like one of you knew it. I love TikTok. I love everything about it and learning about things I'll never cook. But for you guys, what is like, in terms of how long a video should be for any platform, what advice would you give that has worked for you? Is it about length? Is it about hashtags? What are some hard tips you can give?
I keep most of my videos in my stories, which is very TikTok-y, right? That's kind of what TikTok is about. But so I keep everything there, and I zone it out. So sometimes I will keep my personal thoughts mostly to weekends because I feel like that's when people are relaxed, and it works, to be honest with you, because during the week no one really cares about this political thing that I feel or whatever, The other thing is I don't separate my business from my personal feelings. I keep them all together. So everyone who follows me knows that I feel this way, or this bothers me, or I'm happy about this, and I think that's really important. And that once I realized that, back to the authentic part of everything, that's what really helped me. But yeah, I like to keep my videos, my little on-the-fly videos in my stories, and then you'll see more professionally filmed videos on my feed.
But don't you guys think that like when they post their first like out of the box, like, okay, fine, I'll be myself, and it doesn't get a reaction, what should they expect? Like, just keep doing it? Oh, go.
100%. So here's what I think. Here's my advice. Number one, it's hard to constantly come up with new ideas. So if you really want to have a brand, you should think about it as a series. What is your series going to be? Is it going to be, I give you 5 easy meals to cook each week? Do I show you designs for under $10? Whatever that is, whatever your hook is going to be, you start with that. So now you're not constantly thinking of new ideas that you have. You treat it like it's a show or treat it like it's a series, right? And then I think that you can't hope that things go viral with the numbers that we hear. So you're like, oh, it got 2 million views, it went viral. For you, viral is different when you've just started. So if you look at the amount of followers you have and you have 2,000 followers and you get 200 views, that's 10%. That is viral. That's great. You know, like that is, and all you can do is get better from there. But you have to start with a gauge. You can't just expect that like, oh, this is gonna matter to somebody. The other thing is if you're really wanting things to go viral, you have to like have a way to get into people's brains and think, why would someone want to share this? How do I take my brand and make it so other people want to be attached to that brand or attached to that? What is it going to say about them when they share this, right? So no, I don't think you should look at if it does well or not. And also, you have to keep doing it when nobody's looking, right? So I've made videos that do terrible, and I keep doing them over and over and over because eventually they'll do well, and eventually people will go back and look at my page, and eventually I'll have credibility because it looks like, oh wow, she's been doing this for so long. She must really be an influencer.
She's still terrible.
Yeah, awful. But it really is like about making content that you believe in, even when nobody's watching. Eventually they'll watch, but you have to keep doing it when they're not.
That is true.
Yeah.
On every social media platform.
Everything.
And I know Sarah wants to add, because you do you have a specific brand kind of style you do with tips.
Well, what I did, and I wish I'd had you in my life last year, but so what I saw was working for some other TikTok platforms was a Just Makes Sense series, and they were adapting that to interior design. So I kind of jumped on that, and it became like my first series of videos about kitchens. And so I just kind of popped through 5 things that just make sense in these kitchens. And it was really, really well received. And my first one went, it wasn't my first one, I shouldn't say that. Like my 10th one went viral. So the first 9 were like duds. And then all of a sudden, everyone really liked one. I mean, who knows whether it's timing, whether, when everybody's on TikTok, there's so many things you can't control for. And you just have to kind of put yourself out there and hope that it hits. So.
And look, there's your feed up there, so. She does okay now.
So
I like that your 9th one did well. I'm like on 300.
Yeah, and it's it's the 9th one, and then you do 10 more, and they bomb, and then you hit another one, and so I created.
I'm negative.
I created I have 3 different themes now. I have 3 storage hacks, which allows me to then kind of pull things from the Just Make Sense series, pull all that video in, and reuse it, because I don't have enough content to do this every day. So I'm kind of repackaging, repiecing, putting it back out there under another theme.
Can I say something? Because
We want you to.
Because when I so appreciate that you ladies share from one platform to the other, but it almost to me, to your point, feels like an afterthought when I see the TikTok logo over on Instagram.
I don't post a TikTok on Instagram. It takes it down. The algorithm takes that down.
Okay, because I've seen so many people with that logo over there, and it's the same logo. They literally copy and pasted it. Okay, that's tacky. But the other thing is
I don't do
too.
that anymore. I used to,
but my other
as
point
of
is,
last month they stopped.
I feel good. Thank you. but I also, that's how often I'm on, yeah. But I also feel like the audiences are so vastly different. I'm not speaking to someone personally on TikTok who is going to come and have a $50,000 design fee to spend with me. I'm just not. Instagram, I do find those people there, and they do resonate with what I post. My TikTok is a sad, sad story, and I pretty much have given up on it, but I'll never say never, but at this point, it's not what drives business for me.
So talk about turning these views on whatever platform into business actionable items. Go.
So here's what I think. The reason why I switched, so I only got on TikTok in August. That's when I decided to start doing TikTok. It's also when I started doing Reels. And I'm always a slow adapter. Social media is not something I love. It's something that I do as a business. I do not use it socially. I'm not somebody who scrolls. I don't care. Like, I look for things sometimes to understand what's happening in the food world and what people are doing, but it doesn't bring me joy personally. But it is, what I realized is that with the Reels, this is something that, because it has the potential to go viral, it is content that I can create that I can then take to brands. And so I can say to brands, I can create this reel for you. Either it's just content that you can put out on your brand socials, or it's content that I can put out on my outlets. And it has the potential, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Like when you're sharing Reels and when you're sharing the TikTok videos, it just pops up all the time. It's like, maybe you should discover this person. It doesn't have to even be tagged by anybody. Because of that, it's this powerful advertising tool that we now get to do as individual brands, that we can go out to corporations and say, hey, would you like to do a brand collaboration? I can create Reels for this amount of money and promise you this amount of views. And that's that is a metric that they can gauge, and that you can promise and that you can perform with. And you can do it to any brand.
Well, and here's the thing. So you turn yours into clients and jobs. I hear brand alliances. What do you do with yours, Sarah? What's your goal?
So my goal is my e-design business, really. That's my primary goal. Secondary goal is I've been creating content online to sell. But I think it's so important, backing up to what Damara said, you need to know what your goals are, and hopefully you're talking about revenue at the end of the day. And if you're not sure how you're going to monetize it, then maybe you shouldn't be spending too much time on it. And we are in a different industry from Damaris too. I just want to point out, kitchen and bath is nowhere near the size of food. So think about, what there is out there for you to gain, in terms of sponsorships and that sort of thing. I don't know that there's as much.
What?
Really? No.
Are you kidding me?
I'll tell you.
As a kitchen designer.
I agree.
Wait, because I'm a designer who milks that, and I only have like 10,000 followers. That I want a reality show. I probably should be doing better, but like, I honestly, my millennial retired from my business, so now I just post what makes me laugh. So if like, I do a grassroots following, kind of like, my goal is to make you laugh, be a kind human, and occasionally I'll show you some cool design. But like, I'll partner with brands and I turn it into things. So for our industry, however, the masses, if they're doing it for a project, they either want to get clients, and sometimes it's product for a show house they're doing locally or something like that.
Yes.
So to me, it's just, I think for you guys, defining what the goal is. And I think your point of not spending too much time on it, if it's not going to turn into something profitable, like it is, turn your phone off on the weekends and actually be a human and like, pay attention to your latchkey children.
Yeah, I mean, collecting followers doesn't pay the bills, right? I mean, it's fun to talk about. My kids get a huge kick out of, sharing that with their friends, that their mom's an influencer. I mean, but that's getting me nothing in terms of dollars and cents, right? So at a certain point, you have to figure out, what am I going to gain from this, and make sure that all those building blocks are in place too. For instance, I'm going to be a little self-disparaging, but I don't have those things set up on my website the way I should, so that when I'm pulling in traffic from Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, that there are things on there for people to buy. Other than consultations, which are, those are not, labor free, right? That's not passive income. I mean, the passive income is, the gold standard, right, of all of this.
So if they're trying to find the right audience for their business via social media, like what tags work for you? And like, to me, food and home are harmony, and I love our panel because we are keeping it real and being honest. And I love that you're like, but I think this, so I think it's awesome.
No, I'm not anti-TikTok.
No, but I
I'm
love
just
it.
annoying TikTok.
But I want to talk about then, like, what are you trying to drive them to? Your website, to a questionnaire? Like,
Can I
what
say
is
one
the goal?
thing?
Yes.
I think before anyone starts any social media endeavor, any business endeavor, treat it like a business. Think about what your return should be. What are you looking for? If you're just wanting to be Insta famous or TikTok famous, that's fine. If that's your goal,
Yeah.
you can succeed at that totally. If you're wanting a return on that investment and you're wanting actual profit from that, whether it be, again, I get sponsorships from people as well. Whatever you're wanting, start out with that goal and keep that in mind, but still be true to yourself throughout the whole process. And then also, too, to your point, Sarah, you should have a point to where you can bring these people in. So yes, they like your post. Yes, they like your story. What's that going to turn into? How do you turn that into revenue for your business? That's how I think about it.
No, that's great, and I love that now we got your face all up there.
There I am. So mine all look the same. Like, it is just so people know what they're getting. That's the series of it. I haven't always done this. It helps tremendously so that when people are looking back through your post too, if you saw something on my page that you were like, oh my God, I love that banana pudding, you can find it because there's a little tag on it. It's very easy. It helps to organize. It helps people who follow you find your content and then share your content again easier.
How long are each videos, and what do you use to edit as well?
So I do videos that are no longer than a minute. You know, I had this, you know, really when you look at Reels and TikTok, it should be like 7 to 12 seconds if you really want people to watch, because most people watch for 9 seconds. But you can see that in all your analytics. But my goal is to not have videos that go viral. My goal is to teach people to cook and to make people feel comfortable in the kitchen and to inspire people to try cooking with the people that they love. That's my goal. And that can't happen in 7 seconds. So if people are looking for a video that's 7 seconds, I'm not their person. And they might unfollow me because my videos are too long. But the people who do follow me because this is the content that I'm giving them consistently. And I don't do it. I don't spend a lot of time on social. I don't have a team. It's myself, and my sister-in-law comes over 1 day a week. We film out some videos. We edit them using InShot, which is an app that you can use on your phone.
Spell it out for them. Like
INSHOT, InShot. It's very easy. It has voiceover. You can do voiceover in it. I film everything ahead of time. A lot of times I film things in Instagram with the filter on so I look prettier. That's just real, and then I save that to my phone, and then I make the video out of it. That's my biggest tip, is like I film it all with a filter, all of it. Yeah, I mean, I just don't have a makeup team at home.
we don't judge. We don't.
No
judge.
judgment. And the other, when I needed to consistently start using social media, I set a parameter for myself, and it is I have to use social media for 20 minutes a day. I don't do it for longer than an hour. And that's just what works for me. That is how I set up goals around it. I use this as a business. It is, 20% of my week is spent doing social media, and 90% of my income comes from brand collaborations. But it is because I've been on TV. But let me tell you, no brands reach out to me because I'm on TV. Nobody is reaching out to me because I have a show. Because how does that help the brand? Just because I have a show doesn't mean that I'm going to be introducing people to that brand on the show. They want me to, because I'm going to introduce people to that brand on my social. So,
That guy agrees with you.
he does. He loves what I'm saying.
So real quick, you guys can still hear, right? Yeah. What do you use to edit, Sarah? Your son?
No, I wish. I use a platform called Adobe Premium Rush, which is part of the Adobe suite.
Yeah.
Very, very easy to use. And so basically all the editing happens in Adobe Rush. I do all my clips on the phone. I pull it into Adobe Rush. I could do it on my phone when I'm on the plane or in an Uber or whatever, or I can do it on my desktop. It just depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes it's a mix. You could flip back and forth. And once all that editing's done, then I pull that into TikTok, into Reels, add the music, add the titles, and send it out. So it does look a little different at the end of the day. And I obviously am picking different music, which gives it a different vibe, John.
100%. TikTok virals are different than
different video.
Instagram viral.
So then how long are your videos? How many seconds, minute?
I don't go over a minute. You know, it can be hard to find music that goes over a minute anyway, and sometimes the music you want to use doesn't go past 30 seconds. So I'll try to keep it to either 15, 30, or a minute.
Stop looking at me.
What? But, you know, I'm really inspired by people. Like, for instance, you should go on to, when you want to get started, go on to TikTok and look at some people in different industries and what they're doing and how their videos are doing, how they're doing it. I was really inspired, I hate to say this, but by Rachel Ray, who had a 15-second...
She's great.
She had a 15-second video on how to chop an onion. And I watched that video like 10 times. Yeah. Because like, I still can't figure out how she's chopping this onion. But it had like 6 million views.
Yeah.
And you realize they're like
You're like
basics.
a million of them.
Right? I was like at least 10. But
so-
it's basics.
But that
Basics, right?
That kind of thing that you're saying right there, the chopping of onion. So when we were talking about like, oh, food's so big, but design is so small, though, for me, I'm like, oh my God, everybody knows how to cut an onion. I'm not gonna do a video on how to cut an onion, duh. Those same things exist for design.
Right.
You are an expert, whatever your job is, you are an expert, and you take for granted the years and years of learning that you have put into your craft. That's all information that I haven't been learning. Like, I don't know how to clean my dishwasher. Never have done it before.
We don't either.
But cleaning
subcontract
experts
that
do.
out.
Cleaning experts do know how to clean. That's why I follow cleaning experts, because I need to learn from them. So we all have those things that we can make a 15-second video out of that's an aha moment for people. If they don't like it, so if they're like, oh, stupid cutting an onion, they just scroll past it and then they forget that you made it because no one cares.
So I was thinking, like, if I were a bathroom designer, for example, be like, let's do a 15-second video on 3 ways to do basic white subway tile, 3 different ways, right? Lay it out 3 different patterns, boom, 15 seconds. People might, they're going to get way more out of that than you might think.
Or the art of the bath, so you're setting spreading positivity around it. So you're like, oh guys, I design bathrooms, but I love it because it's our relaxation. Here are my 3 relaxation tips today. Or these are great tiles, or what, I don't know, whatever
like
it is.
a freestanding tub and Xanax is your answer. So, John, I put up your videos up here.
Oh,
I know
God.
No, it's great. I love it.
42
you guys
followers.
I've talked about what's good for you, the length of videos, what you use to edit, the truth nuggets you throw in.
Yeah, also too, I want to say this. You can see I have 20 some odd thousand followers. You don't have to have 300,000, 100,000. It's wonderful if you do, but you really don't to have success with your social
200's
media.
awesome.
Exactly. You really just start and get it out there and keep it consistent. So I just want to say that you don't have to aspire to this higher level of social media that you see happening sometime. Because I make plenty of money from my Instagram, I'll just say that, and I love it. That being said, I use a thing called Splice, which is great little video editing software.
I use Splice.
Yeah, it's so fast and easy for me when I do something for my stories. And then I use Canva a lot as well for if I partner with a brand and I want a really consistent look throughout the entire story, I'll develop that inside of Canva, and then you can pre-plan it, you can get the scheduling done.
Are you a planner?
Well, I'm really not, but I just did a video series and a whole photo series on my new home renovation that I did, and it's 27 days of John, which is way too much for anybody. But I pre-planned all of that stuff out, and every day I wake up and I'm like, oh wow, that was a really good post I did. Wow, that's amazing. But I did it all at one time. It took 8 or 10 hours to sit down and go through all of that, but once it's done, and I know that the hashtags are there, the tags are there, the brands are represented, and so Canva is a good thing if you want to appear a bit more professional in your stories. And I don't use it for posts, by the way. I do not use it for posts. Posts are either my professional videos or my professionally shot rooms. Only professionally shot for the most part, 99%.
And your websites need those professional shots, but sometimes I think it's just grabbing your phone. They make movies on iPhones now. So I think it's called, in TV, it's called shooting B-roll. So you shoot B-roll with your camera. You can do it with your phone. Know where it's going to land. So on TikTok, you're going to shoot it vertical. On other platforms, you can do more horizontal, get wider of it. But my thing is just start taking videos then you can figure out what you're going to do with it later, but you have content forever. And don't you guys love, you mentioned this earlier, of like show the mess ups, show all of that, because that's what's going to buy like clients to you, because they're going to know, you'll know how to handle a situation should something arise.
Because it's not about just the number of followers, it's about those followers who are engaged.
Totally.
Right? So if you can have a bunch of followers, but if nobody ever comments, and if you have an action point for them and they don't do that action.
Or if you don't comment back. That's a pet peeve of mine, when people don't comment
Ever
back.
comment back.
If someone
Comment
takes the time to write a message on my post, by golly, I'm going to say at least a thank you.
Or just a heart.
Yeah, something,
Not-
right?
But that, making sure that I don't remember what I was going to say.
Sorry, I interrupted you. I know.
it's okay.
I was trying to
can't
tag on to
remember.
that, but
See,
I totally.
they're keeping it real for you. They're
Y'all, I
keeping it real.
literally have no idea what I was talking
I'm so
about.
sorry.
Oh, we love it. But I want to talk about other platforms. So we've talked TikTok, Instagram, but Pinterest. So like every designer has been given Pinterest boards by clients or house. At one point I tell them you must back away from Pinterest, put your blinders on. We are in project. We are not looking at Pinterest anymore. But what are your thoughts? Are you back on it? Are you using it? Do you hate it? John? I'm just kidding. What do you think, Sarah?
No, I just wanted to mention Pinterest because I was really slow to get on Pinterest, and I've been being told for a couple of years, people were like, you are really neglecting this. So finally during the lockdown, I sat down and posted a lot and research hashtags, got on Pinterest. And again, it's like any other social media, like some things just take off and most things just don't, like they just hit the ground with a thud, and you can expect that. But my best performing post on Pinterest is a TikTok. So I took my TikToks, I moved it over to Pinterest, and it's
Without
been
the logo.
thriving. So yeah, no, with the logo. No, you're right. It may have been without the. It might have been without the music. I think it was without the logo. I have to look. And without music. So it has been driving. So it went from like 1 million a month of views, because I had a couple other things that did well, to 8 million views a month, and almost all of it one post. So, and then those people are coming over to my website and they are buying things, so it's real. So you want that, you want your reels and you want your TikToks to then, translate over to something that's meaningful, informational for your Pinterest account.
To get very specific though, when you are moving something from Instagram or Facebook to Pinterest, the word count is different for Pinterest than it is for the other social media platforms. So if you're very verbose, like I am, and you type a lot of words on Instagram, those won't transfer over automatically to Pinterest if you're using a sharing platform. So you're gonna need to edit that down. But to your point earlier, Jennifer, that's where I go in and I'm thinking about who's my audience, because I do have different audiences for Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, and I really try to think about who I'm speaking to there. I don't visualize my best friend when I'm speaking on Facebook. It's this 65-year-old lady that I remember I went to church with in Georgia. That's who
You're
I'm
like,
speaking
"Hey,
to.
girl."
And she's great. And she loves it.
So then, okay, let's talk about hashtags, because I think sometimes it's like blind hashtagging of like, do I put home? Do I put design? What are your thoughts? What do you do? Do you put too many? Can you put too many? Talk hashtags.
Oh, hashtags. I don't know. I don't really
Or
notice
cross
that.
tagging. You can also discuss cross tagging.
So I think the one great thing to do is if you're going to put a hashtag, try to imagine if somebody would follow that hashtag. Like, is somebody really following the hashtag mashed potatoes? No, probably not. I mean, maybe they are.
Now
But
I
for
am.
the most part, yeah, exactly. You're not following milkshake, because why would you be following that hashtag, right? But people do follow hashtag vegetarian food for me. They do follow hashtag easy recipes. So I try to, if I'm going to use a hashtag, use it in a way that will pop up for those people who might be following that hashtag, not just because a bunch of other people have been like, hashtag I can't get over my ex. I don't know, right? I haven't used that one for a while, but
With my hashtags, I'm very specific. So don't choose a hashtag. I use them all. I use every single number that Instagram will allow that gets 30, I believe.
You use 30?
Every freaking one.
Yeah.
I use 5.
No, everyone.
They say you should use 30. I like researched this like a month ago, and so Instagram told everyone, they made an announcement that you should only use 5, that it's optimal to use 5.
That's what I was doing.
But later came out and did like some research on like 18 million posts
Mashed
or whatever.
potatoes was
and
number 1.
And mashed potatoes number 1. But they basically came out and said, no, you should use the max all
But don't
the time.
copy and paste the same ones over. Don't just keep them in the notes on your phone. Really shift them around, because if interior design, that has like millions of people that follow that hashtag, I'm probably not going to necessarily be seen. But if I do like Los Angeles interior designer or blue kitchen cabinets, that's what's going to get that seen. So as you're going through and doing your hashtags, look at to see it, because it'll tell you how many people are actually following that hashtag. And I try to stay in that 100,000, 150,000 range, something like that.
You can see how many people have used that hashtag, which is
Yeah.
pretty helpful as
Yeah,
well.
you should
Tell
go
them
on that
if they're
hashtag.
like, we don't know where it shows at. If you type in the hashtag, is that when it shows it?
And you're in line with your post on,
Yeah.
on Instagram. I mean, again, I don't know the TikTok.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
you
on
just
TikTok.
click,
Okay,
you
good.
just click on it and you can see everything that's coming up and everything that's like killing it under that hashtag. And take a look at those, and do they resonate with you? Should I be doing more of that? Or is it completely wrong for you? And then you stop using that hashtag.
But Instagram will fault you if you do use the same hashtags over and over and over and over. They
I don't
will.
know. I use them over and
They
over
will
and over.
penalize you. They do.
Maybe
no.
they do. So I've got like 10
On those
sets.
hashtags, on those specific hashtags.
Yeah, I've got like 10 sets that I have saved in text
But you rotate
placement.
them, you're saying.
A little. So I'll change out, because like who has time for all this, right? So I'll like do, I do the text replacement.
True
It
story.
dumps in 30 of them. I'll change maybe 3. Boom.
That's something.
all I got
That's
time
something.
for.
Oh, that's something. You're changing it. That's something.
I have a question.
Okay, go.
Do you put them in the post or do you put them in the comments?
Not in the comments.
You do not put them in the comments?
No, I
Not
don't.
You put them in the post.
No,
Because
I've
those
moved-
don't
I've moved
perform
to
as well for
comments.
me when I put
Wait.
them in the comments.
So you're saying you put them in the comments,
Well, you have to put them in right away,
and you say you put them in the post.
But yes, I put them in the post.
because you got to put them in right away.
So you're putting it
Like
as the
seconds.
first comment
Yes.
underneath?
Has to go
But I
right
separate it
in.
with a cute little heart or some
Yeah.
kind of thing or something like, so that we're not just like hashtag. You know?
I know,
Yeah.
I hate when I see the explosion of hashtag. It seems so thirsty to
But
me.
you can do the little dot.
It's
dot,
like,
dot, dot,
oh
dot.
my god, hashtag this, hashtag this.
You can space it down to where it's not right after
Yeah,
it.
and then your
but-
kids are like, "Why are you posting a heart emoji like right after?" you-
Eggplant emoji. I don't think you know what that means.
And they're making fun of me. So I'm like, screw. I'm just gonna put the hashtags in my first one. I don't care.
And then question, are you also hiding tags within the post? If you're like showing brands, you're talking a kitchen, you're showing tiles or cabinet companies, how are you tagging them? Is it helping you to tag them? Talk.
I loud and proud it from the beginning, and I try to be very clear about, like I work with GE Appliances a lot. I love them as a brand. I want people to know that I work with them, and I only work with brands that I love. And so when I love a brand, I'm proud of it. It's easy for me to talk about. I say it right away. I'm so excited to show you what GE Appliances is doing in my kitchen right now. I'm not going to hide that anywhere because it seems weird. I want people to know that I am aligning my brand with this other brand. I don't want to be like shady about it at all. And then I tag so that the brand can see. Because, like,
Of course.
especially if they haven't paid me for it, I do that a lot. And I also post a lot where I tag brands that I love when I'm not being paid, because that tells people that follow me that they can trust that I'm posting about brands that I love, that I'm not being paid. Because when you get paid, you have to put that paid partnership. And we all know when you see that paid partnership thing, a little bit of you is like, okay, I'm sure you love,
But we need the money, so please look at that post, please.
Right.
And please engage
support
with
us.
that post, because that's why I can make all these videos for free, because somewhere along the line a brand is like, oh, I can pay you. Otherwise, I can't spend all my time making free videos.
So why would it be beneficial for a normal everyday person to do a cross tag to a brand if they're not going to get paid? What would be their goal?
Because they will, because some of the brands that I work with are because I tag them because I love them. And I kept tagging them because I love them. And we're not individuals hanging out as social. We're here trying to use this social media tool advertising platform for our business. And whatever your business is, there are partners that you can do. You don't have to have a huge brand. There are other brands that you can align with that they have 3,000 followers, you have 3,000 followers. You probably don't follow the same people. Boom, now you're both increasing to 6,000. That's double the amount that you had before. So the gauge, just meet yourself where you are.
And that's called micro-influencing. I know, right? Let's label
what
it out.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It used to be that only people with a lot of followers would turn into, income or whatnot and product. And now it's all about the little guy.
You have to be a walking PR firm for your own company, right? Like you have to represent yourself. So if you're tagging whatever appliance or whatever company that you're showing in that photo, they're going to show that possibly on their feed. That's going to get you more followers. That's going to get you more interest in your social media. So it's all a big circle, and it all comes back to you. So I think not over tag it. Don't like go crazy and put every magazine that you want to be in. None of that stuff. But definitely. Definitely the brands that are in the photo,
Yep.
wallpaper, appliances, tile, all those things. I
Well,
tag
and
them all
you
the
have
time.
a post that lives through House Beautiful that's done well for you, right? Didn't they post one of your posts or something?
Yeah, you're talking about TikTok. Yeah.
Let's go back to TikTok. And I'm,
Yes, so they-
I'm pulling up your images too of everyone.
Yeah.
So you're pulling up my really awful TikToks.
2.8
but-
million. Girl, that's so many views.
Yes. I know, it's crazy, right? And
Yes.
like I said, I've done like dozens of those, and so many of them just like bombed. So, what was special about that one? I've been over and over and over it. I have no idea. But I just want to say really quickly about tagging brands. Like, just tag them. Like, especially if they're in the photo. I think most of you are doing that because you never know what that's going to get you. You never know when the president of whatever company out there whose product you love is going to,
Should it be
reach
in the
out and-
video? Should it be in the post? Should it be in the comments?
Oh, it should be. I'll always tag within the photo because that's what they're going to see. Then it comes up on their Instagram account under tags, right? Whereas if you tag in the comments,
I do
it
both.
doesn't.
Yeah.
And if I'm really talking about the product, then I'll put
That's
it
me,
in
yeah.
the
Yeah.
caption as well. But otherwise, maybe I'm just talking about something else related to design, but their faucet or whatever is in there, then I'll tag California Faucets in the photo.
So the thing that I think is so interesting when I try to think about why is this important, when this got 200 or 2.8 million views, how many followers did you have? Like, it can even be how many you have now.
Maybe 5,000?
Okay, so 5,000.
Yeah.
But this means that if there was a brand tagged in this, even if you don't say the brand, even if you're not like, oh, I love whatever, I love GE appliances, even if that's not GE appliance, but even if you don't say that, we have now seen that I work with brands and I don't say it, I'll just put the label in what I'm using, Diamond Nuts. You'll see the Diamond Nut in there. I don't say anything about it. But to the brand, that brand is now, that image has been seen by 2.8 million people. When you look at shows on television, on Saturday morning on the Food Network, a good rated show for In the Kitchens was 0.8, which is 800,000 views, right? 800,000 viewers were watching it at that time. So when people were advertising, so the Food Network goes to advertisers and they say, okay, it's going to get 800,000 views, advertise with us, right? Now you can go and say, it's going to get 2.4 million views, advertise with me. You don't have to advertise on networks anymore. You can advertise with people who are consistently getting those views and those numbers. And that's why it's important. And that's why it matters to brands, because brands also don't know what's going on and they also don't know how to create content. They just don't.
That's
We're
true.
all in a new
Yeah,
world.
that's true.
And they're all looking for content. They all have like somebody who's like, oh, just repost some stuff. I don't know.
Do you guys look at your analytics? Like, do you study it, or you're like, it's going to do well, or
I
it's not?
I used to, but I don't anymore.
I don't either.
I don't anymore. It's too much stress.
Yeah,
did your homework.
Do.
I know you
I
did.
do. Well, shoot, I was an econ major in college.
You
I
sat
like
in the
numbers.
front of the class. We know you're on it.
Of course I did. Yeah, no, I think it's really fun to look at the analytics. I'm terrible. Like, I love to drill down and look at what hashtag is working this week. And,
Yeah.
I probably only get a marginal amount of, help from that. But if you like it, do it. If you hate it, maybe it's not your thing. But, for me, I enjoy it. It's kind of like this hobby that, when my husband's watching TV, I'm sort of drilling down into analytics and picking a new hashtag. So.
Well, and on TikTok, to go back to that, there are viral songs that you can hide on the post, turn the sound down, and it'll help your post. It may not get the audience you want, but those are some of the tricks people do.
Yeah.
I had not heard about that trick.
Oh, it's what the young folk are doing.
Okay.
My son put me onto that one. And you do need to look at, when you get on TikTok, you need to look at what's gone viral in terms of music, and you have to pick your music that way. I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the mechanics of this stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, go ahead, tell them where they'll find you to get more in depth.
On the DMM stage tomorrow, I think 9, something like that. But I think it's the first thing on the stage tomorrow.
That's great.
So
Hopefully
if you want to hear more about TikTok, my thing is TikTok's the Wild West. It's fun. And like the goal is on TikTok, you can just be yourself and who cares. So like on TikTok, I had one video that did really well. It instantly went to like just 30,000, not just, to me that was a lot. And it was of my child. He wanted a haircut like JFK. He's a history kid. But then there were some kids that were mean about my son because he's special needs.
no.
And then I was like, I hate you, TikTok. I break up with you, TikTok. However, you have to have thick skin on TikTok. Like, part of it is knowing how to play the game. And like, I'll go back on there and I've got to teach my kid to have thick skin. That is life and reality. But let's talk about, like, because you had mentioned it, we talked about on our call that TikTok's a tougher crowd.
Yeah, it's a different crowd, and they could be mean, they could be critical, and you just have to, in a sense, it can be fun to lean into it. And Damaris and I were sort of comparing notes a little bit on how you lean into that. Or if you sort of intentionally, you may slip a little something in there that is going to drive comments. And some of those comments might be negative, but it's driving a lot of comments, so, and that's good for you. So I think what you might find, if you were to look at that TikTok of mine that did really well, there's a couple of things in there that people were like, oh, that's not a good idea at all. And
It's back a few slides, but I'll go back to as you're talking. Let's talk about, you talked about you intentionally leave something out or misspell something.
I do it all the time. So it's really important to have engagement. So if I'm posting a recipe all the time, I just won't post what temperature to bake the cake at, right? Because then everybody's like, oh, what temperature? You forgot to add the temperature. What temperature do you bake the cake at? It doesn't matter. Those are all comments. So now my post is doing really great. People are really engaging with it. I just go back and then after the next day, I'll be like, oh, edit. Thanks so much, 350. Or I comment to them, 350. Or I'll spell something wrong. So everybody wants to correct you on everything. If you have a brand that's about luxury, probably this is not a good tip for you. I am not a luxury brand, okay? So it's fine for me. I put a mistake in there because what that does is for the people who like to correct people, which they are out there are lots of them, and they take joy in correcting me. It doesn't matter because they just gave me another comment. So those are like little sneaky techniques. It's also helped me because I allow myself to not be perfect. It allows me to post easier. I've taken away perfectionism out of posting, and so I can post more often. I also try to, when people are mean, I let it hurt my feelings. I don't want to become a person where it doesn't hurt my feelings when somebody says something mean about me. I feel it. I don't give them energy back. I don't comment back when people say negative things. I give energy to people who are giving me good energy. But I do, as a real person, I don't want to dull myself. I don't want to be a person who people can say mean things about the way that I talk or the way that my face looks or the food that I make. I don't want to be somebody who that doesn't hurt. So it hurts my feelings. I let it hurt my feelings, and then I move on.
Do you make a leave Britney alone crying video?
I should. Yeah, that would do very well.
But John, so you are about luxury. So when you translate that to social media, like, how do you keep it real and ooze luxury?
Well, I mean, I think consistency in what I post is important, but to your point about getting feedback, I ask questions, and I don't just say like silly little things. I'm very specific. Like, when do you take your Christmas decorations down? Like, how soon do you put this? I ask specific things. One of the things that worked really well for me for engagement was when I actually was having people vote on choices for my own home. So I would say, what do you think? This wallpaper or that wallpaper? This tile or that tile?
You knew you were going to ignore them, right?
Well, they did the right answer, thank God. But it was good. The engagement was great. Everyone loved it. What are you going to post next? You know, what can we vote on next? And they felt like they were a part of the project. You know, but as you see, my grid, my feed is very consistent as far as what I post. Mostly 99% professional images or professional video. That's really important. And every now and then I'll throw a photo in of my husband and myself, or my dog and myself. My dog does really well. It's better
My
than
cats
me.
Dogs and
really
babies.
well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And then you'd like to focus on tips, like it's teaching moments.
Right, right. You know, I just feel like that's kind of my purpose, and that's kind of what I want the focus to be. And it's worked well, and so I'm kind of sticking with that. I did do some, like you were saying, sort of where you poll people on, you know, what do you think about this or this, and it did get a lot of engagement, and it was kind of fun. But I worry a little bit, and this is just me being probably paranoid, that I worry that people will think that I don't have an opinion, or I can't decide, or I can't design a kitchen on my own, so I need to ask everybody. So I get a little paranoid about that, and I
But
don't
you could
do as many of those.
word it different. You could be like, hey, I'm curious what you're into, kind of thing. Which do you like better? And I'm like, I'm still going to do what I'm going to do, but I'm curious which direction you would go.
I always say there's no bad option. There's no bad choice. They're both great, which is a line that we use when we present to clients as well. Like, here's two choices. They're both really good. It's just about what resonates with you. So that's what I tell my followers is like, they're both great, but I'm just curious about which one you guys like.
And these are all happening usually in the story.
Yeah,
In
that's
the
what
story.
Right? That's what
This is story, yes.
That's stories. So when I'm doing posts, when I want engagement in posts, we run a different kind of series. So I do easy recipes. I do some recipes where people write in weird food combinations they want me to try, and I do a series where I post up things that I found at a thrift store that I don't know what they are. So one of those is for teaching, and it gets almost the recipes get almost no comments, but they get a ton of views, right? They do very, very well with views. The weird food combos, they don't do that well with views, and I found it at the thrift store, it does okay between both of them. What happens with I found it at the thrift store and the weird food combos are that my engagement are crazy. So that the posts I'm doing are tailored towards knowing that this does really well with views, this does really well with engagement. And I make sure that my posts are a combination of those things. So that, you're keeping your engagement up when you're still doing something that gets a lot of views, but my engagement's down. I don't want to stop doing cinnamon roll cake, which is a cake mix, and I can't believe the things that people love, honestly. Half the time it kills me. What you start to do is you start to learn about your community, and you start to fill the need of your community, which is what we're all trying to do, which is what all brands are trying to do.
That's what the entire thing is about.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're going to get to questions here in a second. And I think one of the best things to just remind people is it's kind of evolved to community over competition. It used to be that in this industry, it was like, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. And it was very Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding kind of competition.
Very
but
on point.
now it's like high five each other. I celebrate you. It's not my aesthetic, but I high five you out the wazoo. So I want to, before we get to questions, give a fast, what is your prediction for social media? No pressure. What do you think is going to happen next? What's going to be big? It can be for you. It can be for people, for the design industry. Is it focusing more on user-friendly? Is it wellness? What is it?
Oh gosh, wellness is off the charts, right? As we all know. Yeah, I think it's thinking about, how these trends, for you as a designer, how do these trends kind of translate into content that's relevant to your brand? So, if I were sort of starting out, and you should be doing this over and over, right? But you should think about the trends, kind of break them down in your head. And then figure out, so how can I translate this into a series that's meaningful to my brand, like you were describing. Maybe it's something new. Take a look on TikTok and Reels. Maybe there's a series, somebody else is doing something already that works perfectly for you. Social media is all about copying others, jump on that bandwagon. But yeah, I think everything, just quickly transitioning to video, which makes me sad. I love the photos on Instagram. And it makes me really sad that when I go through my feed now, it's like 80% video.
But it's beautiful and stunning. Okay, your prediction.
My prediction is that you're going to continue to see positivity. I think we had a couple of dark years. Like, it's been a hard couple of years for everybody, and social got rough. And so I think that you're going to see a lot of transitioning back to positivity and like mental health, like talking about like how do we make sure that we are engaging with social in a healthy way and that we're engaging with our communities in a healthy way. I also think that you're still going to see dancing, 100%. Like, you're still going to see dancing because it makes people feel joy. And I think you're going to find that socials, TikTok and Instagram are going to find ways to monetize content. Very quickly, I think they're going to start rolling that out because people are realizing, like, wait, I'm just giving them this, I'm building this brand where I'm creating content for free, that Instagram and TikTok, I think, are going to find ways to start paying creators, not through brand partnerships, but through just the apps themselves. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. Who knows?
Let's hope. I think there's going to be this separation of business minds from your personal life. I really do. I think that we're all going to open up and we're going to show ourselves for who we are. I think that that's what this pandemic has taught us, is that the things that really matter in life, and those things have really come to the surface, especially for me over the past 2 years. So I'm frankly done with the status quos and trying to do this and worried about likes. I just am going to put myself out there, and I think that more and more people are going to be vulnerable and going to be more open about who they are. And I think brands are also going to have to figure out a way to show their vulnerability rather than just trying to force a product down someone's throat. So it's about being who you are, true to yourself, and those brands have to delicately find that as well.
Transparency out the wazoo. We're going to start taking questions, and it's always awkward at first. It's going to, for the older generations, we're going to go Phil Donahue style with a microphone in the audience. Younger generations, I have nothing to offer you on a comparison. So if it takes one person to start raising their hands, thank you.
Good job,
and
everyone.
nothing is off limits. We have all fully agreed to answer whatever. So bring it, people. Hold the mic close too. It's always weird. I mean, don't COVID it, but
Right. Hey, hi. So a few months ago, myself and a coworker of mine through our current company, we started a little Saturday morning talk show. It's myself, I drink coffee, and I talk about kitchens and baths. It's coffee and cabinets. And while it's casual, it's very structured. You know, we plan everything out. We walk through stuff very seriously. And I'm still really struggling to get comfortable with the more fun aspect. Like, we really want to break into TikTok and Instagram stories and things and just make it a little more fun and playful. But what advice do you have? I'm really comfortable now being serious, but I need to be more fun.
And before you answer, here's the thing. We were so amazing that we went really long, and we're sorry for all of you sitting in the chairs. We're going to answer this one question, and then the four of us will go over there out of the way for the next panel, that the other questions can come answer us for free advice. But go ahead, end with how to make it fun for her, and then we'll do a French exit and love on GE for sponsoring this panel.
Okay, so here's what I would think about the funniness. There is a reason why you're uncomfortable being seen silly. That's only a question that you can answer. That I can't tell you why you don't feel comfortable being silly. So it does take a little bit of self-reflection to figure out, like, what is it that I'm afraid of? What is the worst thing that can happen? And what is holding me back? Answer those questions and then try to fix it. Or not, or be like, okay, the worst thing that can happen is people unfollow me, and then they do.
And Damaris will do a TikTok with you right over there.
Oh yeah, you guys, honestly, let's be silly now, right? So I started stand mixer dance. You all will be, let's all be silly together,
Oh,
okay?
God.
I need some help, I need somebody to film this, please.
Okay, we're
Come
gonna
up to
do
the stage, okay.
questions over there. Thank thank you all of you for sitting and listening. Round of applause for our amazing
Okay,
panel.
let's be silly.
Follow
Stan, you're not come here
Oh,
with
we're
TikTok.
gonna do it now.
We're
Oh, okay.
silly, okay? We're gonna do
So
this
here's
together. Stand.
Silly. Here's
This is
my
called the
mic.
stand mixer. You stand, 2, 3. Everybody stand up. I don't know why you're not standing up. Stand it up. Stand. We mix.
I have no rhythm.
We mix. The next thing we do is paddle attachment, dough hook, whisk.
I'll do it.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
let's all do it together, okay?
I've already forgotten.
Ready?
have to go because
We're gonna, you're not in trouble. Nobody's yelling at us. We're fine. Okay, we're gonna stand mixer. So
All right.
we are
What was it again?
stand mixering. Everybody, stand mixer. And we mix.
All right.
You're welcome.
And we mix.
I can't believe.
And we paddle attachment. We paddle attachment. What about the dough hook? Oh, the dough hook. And
I didn't
now
sign up
we
for
whisk.
any of this.
Whisk. Whisk.
my God.
Whisk. Here we go. I look like a fool, but who cares?
Your hair looks
Bye, you
amazing.
guys.
Okay,
Oh,
group photo,
All right,
group
thank
photo.
you.
Way to bring it with the end. You're amazing. You're
and I'll
we
sign
good?
your cookbooks at the GE Appliances booth. Come and see me. I'll sign your books. There's books there. There's my cookbooks there.
Yay.
Just kidding.